Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into something that might seem a little bit daunting at first, but trust me, it is incredibly rewarding. You know that feeling when you notice a little imperfection, a tiny leak, or maybe a section that's just seen better days. It can be easy to think, oh, well, that's a job for the professionals, or worse, ignore it and hope for the best. But what if I told you that with a little know-how and some patience and the right tools for the job, you can tackle many rust repairs or panel replacements yourself, saving money and gaining a real sense of accomplishment. So get ready to roll up your sleeves, because we're about to embark on a journey of discovery that will leave your car looking and feeling better than ever. So I started this journey a little bit before I recorded this video, and I started doing a little bit of digging into the rust patch on the rear section of the roof that you can see me working on now. This is where my first mistake happened. I tried to keep the original folded edge of the Beetle's roof rail. Luckily, I quickly realised that this part wasn't savable, and as you can see, I just decided to cut the whole thing off and start again from fresh. I then got the flap wheel out and cleaned up all of the rusty part that was still solid but just had a bit of surface rust on it, ready for the new panel that I made off camera to be welded in. So this is where I started to test fit a little repair patch that goes just behind the folded edge on the roof, so that I've got nice, fresh, clean metal so that I can weld the new panel over the top. So now I've got the panel mostly fitted up and in the right shape, I took the cut-off wheel and made a square cut so that the new panel would fit perfectly in the gap. One thing to remember as well is never cut too much off at once. Always cut a little bit, because it's easier to cut more than it is to try and replace what you've removed. So here I'm just grabbing my magnet with my new panel that I've just cut out of some 1mm thick mild steel. The magnets are really handy because it's like an extra pair of hands. So I'm just getting ready to throw my first tack down. I usually only put 1, maybe 2 tacks, so that I can still manipulate the panel to make sure that the fitment is absolutely perfect. And as you can see, because I've only put the 2 tacks down, I can manipulate the panel to get the gap perfect and get it nice and flush with the original panel. And then once it's flush, I'll throw my last tack down, and then it will be ready to be fully welded in and be solid. One of the big things with welding in panels is go slowly, so you don't overheat the panel, potentially warp it. As you'll see with my welding, I will dot around the area that needs welding so that I don't overheat that area and give that area a chance to cool down. need to stop knocking this bloody camera. So now I'm going to attack the welds with a wire brush just to clean them up, just to see if I've got any pinholes anywhere that need filling, which I think I did actually have. Yet I had a pinhole that needed filling, so I went back, filled the pinhole, and then it'll be ready for grinding flat. So now crack the grinder out again, grind the welds flat so that I can mock up the new panel that will be welded along that edge, so it will sit nice and flat on the metal, so I can then plug weld it into place. With grinding, always go slowly because you don't want to remove too much material. You just want to knock the welds down flat. If you end up thinning the material out, it then becomes weak. As you can see, I'm just tickling it with a grinder. It keeps stopping to check. I go back at it with a grinder again, stop to check. Just keep repeating that process until it's nice and flat. After I'd finished grinding, I found another little pinhole that just needed a little weld throwing into it just to fill it up. And then again, attack it with a grinder, knock it down nice and flat. So this is the panel that I made. It is a piece just like the other panel of 1mm mild steel with a curve bent into it and some holes drilled so that I can plug weld through. Just have to be mindful to make sure your alignment's perfect. You'll see me put the magnets on, adjust it, take the magnets off, adjust it again, and I keep repeating that process until I'm happy that everything is flush. Once I'm happy, I can grab the welder again, pop a little tack weld in there, just make sure it's not going to move anywhere. I can then double check to make sure everything is flush before I throw that second tack down. Always make sure once you've done one step, always just check. Just quick little visual check, or with your fingers, just make sure it's flat. Mine decided to warp a little bit and it bowed up in the middle. So I'm just attacking it with the panel beating hammer just to knock it back down flat so that the gap's nice and tight, so I can put the weld in and it's not going to blow through. So after I'd finished doing all the plug welds on that lip, just a little tap with the panel beating hammer just to make sure that that new panel is perfectly flush with the old panel before I tack it in place. Just get a nice little tack on there, just so that it doesn't move and it fills the gap. Again, grind it back out just to make sure it's nice and flat and the weld is completely invisible. So we've got all the old rusty metal cut out, new panel welded in here, this one all plugged welded, basically the new lip that folds over. We've got this new panel right here cut out, pretty much ready to go, and that will be the roof. I've still got to cut a little piece out here just to finish this area off. So, we've got all new metal welded in. Still need to fill in this little piece here, but it's almost as good, if not better, than the factory edge. Looks almost identical.